Welcome everyone. So in this video, we're going to cover the 5 core questions. Basically, these are the 5 core questions you need to ask yourself before participating in any DeFi project. The first thing we need to look at is how secure the project is. And the second thing that we need to look at is how sustainable the project is. So these 5 core questions will cover the security and sustainability when deciding whether to get involved in a project. So the first question is the liquidity pool locked? This is very important. So what I'm going to cover here are the 3 different types of locks when it comes to liquidity. So a good example I could show you right now in terms of a permanent lock is ARK. So the first lock being what we call permanent lock or black hole lock. So this is a good example I could show you. So as you can see, the funds are locked in the black hole. The second thing what I could show you is the second type of lock, which is more like a duration lock or time-based lock. So this is an example I could show you. As you can see, there is a start date and an end date for the lock. As you can see, nothing is locked in the black hole. So this is to do with the duration-based lock. And the third type is no lock. So no lock, I could show you, you could term this as open or high risk. So let me just show you that as well. So this is a good example I could show you. As you can see, there's no padlock here. So this shows you that there is no liquidity lock. So ideally, I would tell you if the liquidity pool is not locked, to avoid this and do your due diligence so that you could select the right project where you would not make the mistakes. Because, for example, if the liquidity is not locked, the dev team or project team can drug the pool anytime. So this is very important that you need to make sure no matter how much money is in the liquidity pool, it can be rugged anytime. So let's talk about ARK. So if we look at ARK, if we go into the details, as you can see that everything is locked in the black holes. The first address would take you to one ending with 0000. So this is to do with bond staking. And the second one is to do with what we call Genesis node. So this will end with DEAD. And then you have 9706. This is, as you can see, this is to do with pancake swap or the slippage or what we call the gas fee. So you can see the details here. So what I'm going to cover right now are the 5 different ways you could check if the liquidity pool is locked. So the first 3 ways are more like third-party websites or third-party tools that we're using. So the second one is DEX tools or DEX screener. So as you can see in DEX screener, when you click on the padlock here, it's going to show you whether the liquidity pool is locked. Or you could come out to liquidity providers and it would show you the same details. So this is the second way to check. As you can see, ending with 0000 or DEAD, the first one being bond staking and the second one being Genesis nodes. So this is the second way to check. The third way is on DEX tools. So as you can see the padlock here as well. So there are other details as well. You could check when the project started. So that's on 26th August. And the holders. So again, this is third-party information. And the most accurate way is being CertiK and BSC scan. So on CertiK, we'll get into this later on in more detail. What we're going to look at is whether to see if the liquidity pool is locked. We're going to come over here where it says full scan. Once you click on that and scroll all the way to the bottom right, it will show you an indication whether the liquidity pool is locked. Now, this is CertiK confirming that the liquidity pool is locked. And the most accurate way to check it is on BSC scan, the fifth way. So what I'm going to enter here is the liquidity pool of ARK. So it ends with E0D8. Once you enter that and you click on this where it shows BEP20 Pancake LPs, you're going to click on that and head over to holders. And over here, you can verify everything on chain. As you can see, the details over here is to verify everything on chain for the liquidity pool to check if it's locked. Then moving on, let's cover the second question, which is to check if the token contract is open source. Because this is very important, even more than the first one, has a bigger impact compared to the first one. Because even though the liquidity pool is locked, but the token contract is not open source, this means that what we're looking at is if the contract has backdoors, or if what's most important to understand here is if the minting contract is renounced. Because if the minting contract is not renounced, this means that the dev team can mint tokens anytime and dump it into the market whenever they want. And that also could lead to a rug pull. So we need to check this because this is very important. So I'm going to show you how to check this on chain. So you're going to head over to BSC scan. And what we're going to do here is we're going to enter the minting contract of ARK, which ends with 7A81. Once we enter that, we're going to head over to contract. So as you can see, there's a green tick on the top over here. This shows that the minting contract is open source. And we're going to head over to read as proxy. So as you can see that we have the minting contract over here, the minting contract address, and then you have the different types of roles as everything is open and transparent here. What you're going to do is what we are going to check here is to see if the minting contract, whether any of these have minting rights. So we're going to copy the first one, which is the admin role. We'll check it here. So this is the first one we're checking. As you can see, it shows false. Then we'll just confirm the second one. So it shows false. And we're going to check the third one as well. So it shows false as well. So this clearly shows that if it shows false, this means that they don't have minting rights. So this means that the minting contract is fully renounced, meaning the dev or project team can't mint tokens anytime. So this is a good indication so that you understand that the minting contract is open source. Now let's look at the third question, which is to do with whether is the treasury managed via multi-sig and transparent. So the website that we're going to use, or the tool that we're going to use here, is safe.global. So this is to check if the treasury is multi-sig. And also we're going to look at governance as well, which is tally.xyz. This is to check if the decision making is centralized or decentralized. Because if the project is centralized, meaning all the decision making is done by the dev team. But if it's a fully decentralized project, the decision making is done through the community. So let's check that as well on chain so that we could verify the information that everything is transparent. So the website that we're going to check is Safe Global. So safe.global. So this is to check if the treasury is multi-sig. So you're going to click on that and then head over to watch any account. And over here, what's important for us to understand is to check if the treasury is multi-sig. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the treasury address. So the treasury address is basically going to show us whether this is multi-sig or not. So we're going to enter the word over here. You could actually enter anything, but I'm just going to enter ARK. And we're going to click on BNB chain because ARK is on the BSC network or BNB chain. And over here, you're going to enter the ARK treasury address. So once you do that, which ends with A68B, the word next just appeared. So this is a confirmation that the treasury is multi-sig. Because, for example, if we enter something else, let's say we enter A, it would show like invalid address checksum. Say we enter something else, it would show as invalid address format. So once you enter the correct treasury address, this is an indication to show you it's multi-sig. So when we move forward, let's say we click on next, as you can see, it shows 5 out of 9 signers. So basically what this means is that after a proposal is passed through the government and through the voting of the community, it will go through the 5 out of 9 signers. And if there are 5 out of 9 confirmations, the proposal will be approved and implemented on the protocol or on the blockchain or within the dApp. So this is very important for us to understand. And what we're going to check is tally as well. So over here, this is basically the website tally.xyz. So over here, we basically are looking at proposals that are initiated and voted by the community. So as you can see, there were 3 different proposals that were created. And you can see that the voting also over here. So I think one of the minimum requirements is that it needs to meet minimum 200T in order to be approved and basically over 51% majority voting. As you can see, three proposals were passed, and these were all approved and implemented on the blockchain within the dApp. So that's what we have as a fully decentralized project where decision making is based on community voting and is through the community and not by the dev team. So this is an indication of what we're looking at, a fully decentralized project. And what I want to cover as well are the questions to do with CertIC, because this is very important for us to understand as well, how to professionally understand CertIC report. So as you can see that what we're going to be looking at is once you key in the word, let's say a project name like ARK, this should appear. So let's look at ARK. For example, you could type in the word ARK and it should show up. So the first thing you'll see here is like a general Skynet score. So this is just a general score. It doesn't really mean much information because what we're going to look at is the token scan score. Okay, so as you can see, it's showing as 100, and then there are 22 tests that have been passed. So this is very rare to find in the industry today, to find everything meeting all the criterias and everything ticked. Also, what you can also check is the PDF. So you could see the conversation between the ARK project team and also the CertIC team, the conversation between them. But what's important for us to understand is we could also check over here some of the important information. So as you can see, everything is green and everything meeting the criteria for a fully decentralized project. As you can see, for example, is there a hidden owner? There's no hidden owner because we could see that everything is fully decentralized. Whitelist, so this is very important. So we could check if there are any backdoors where, addresses could just be used and decisions could be made. So these are some of the things, as you can see, minting as well, if more tokens can be minted. So this also means that if it's ticked in green, that the minting is renounced. So major holder ratios. So this is to check if a project is centralized. So as you can see, everything meets the criteria for a fully decentralized project. So let's cover the other questions as well to do with sustainability of a project. So what we are looking at is in terms of emission model. So emission model and RBS. So as you can see, emission model, this is basically to do with if, for example, if you look at the central bank, like what they do are two things. They print money and they regulate. So what emission model does in the decentralized environment is it issues token based on supply and demand, and it looks at maintaining effective price support. So what's important to understand is that there is a floor price as well. So just for your understanding is that this is a V3 model. So in a V1 model, like if you look at the Olympus Tower model, it is more to do with a floor price of $1. So this doesn't look like a safety precaution for investors. So over here, we have like a floor price to protect investor funds as well, below falling a certain price. So what we need to understand is that we have emission model in order to sustain price, where token is issued based on supply and demand. And the next thing is we look at RBS. So this is also known as range bound stability. There's another term as reserve-based stabilizer. But what we're looking at is a dual pool mechanism. So the important thing to understand here is that the V3 model has both money and token in the treasury, because the V1 model only has money. So just to give you an example how it works, okay, let's say, for example, if the price is to go up, so this means that the demand for ARK has gone up. So what the treasury does during this time is it's going to sell the tokens in the market and accumulate the USDT reserve, accumulate USDT. So for example, if the price goes down, what it does is that this means the demand for the token of ARK has gone down. So in order to stabilize price, the treasury will buy back the tokens and it will, using the USDT reserves, and it will burn them. So this way they will be able to stabilize the price. So this is very important for us to understand the 5 core questions when selecting a DeFi project. I'm going to even cover a little bit about CertIC, so that you could understand how to read a CERTIC report to fully understand how it works. So, for example, if we look at CERTIC, what we're going to look at mostly are to do with the numbers shown here, which is the token scan score. So as you can see, everything has been verified, has been ticked. As you can see, there's no hidden owner, there's no whitelist. There's all the criteria have been met for a decentralized project. You can see over here the CERTIC audit has been approved, bug bounty has been approved as well. So these are all good indications of a fully decentralized project for us to understand that everything has been renounced and verified on chain. So this is a good indication as to what we need to look at for a fully decentralized project, because to understand how to read a CERTIC report is very important. So I'm going to cover that in more detail as well, so that this would be very useful when you look at other projects in the market and for you to read a CERTIC report. So what I'm going to cover here are the CERTIC audit, bug bounty, and verified contracts. So as you can see, these are all approved. So for example, as you can see, firstly, our token scan score shows 100. So this means from a token security perspective, ARK is, 100%, has no risk. It has a high score, very rare to find in the industry. So when we look at CERTIC audits, the most important thing to check is the token scan score, since it's the security indicator and the key metric. So this reflects the security of the token, because, at the end of the day, without security, just having all the ideas is just empty talk. So what we need to understand as well over here is that the CERTIC audit has been approved. So this indicates the project has passed the CERTIC audit. And as you can see, team verification, this means the official team has uploaded the code on to CERTIC, offering a bug bounty for white hackers to attack and to find vulnerabilities with rewards up to $100,000. So I think you can see that as well over here, $100,000, the bug bounty program. And what's important to understand that this has been approved, because this is very important. For example, this confirms the audited code is the same as the code actually deployed. Because if this is not approved, okay, it could mean that the code used for the audit is different from the code deployed on chain, which could mean that it could be a high risk project that you're involved in. So as you can see, this is approved. So this is also a good sign. And over here, you could see that it's a verified contract as well. So this is also approved. So these are all indications that we are looking at a good project in the market. So this is very important for you to understand as well. So like I said, just to summarize about all the things that we just covered with the 5 core questions. So as you can see, this is very important for us to understand. So is the liquidity pool locked? I just covered 5 different ways. So you have third-party tools that you could use like ABE, DEX, Screener, DEX tools, and the most important or most accurate ways to check is on CERTIC and BSC scan being the most accurate one. Then, like I showed you, the token contract should be open source. As you can see, there was a green tick on the contract to show that it's open source. And the minting contract, we just confirmed that everything showing as false, meaning none of those have minting rights. Then treasury managed by multi-sig, like I just confirmed on safe.global, that you could check once you see the next button showing up. Once you've entered the treasury address, for example, the ARK treasury address, you could see next showing up, meaning it's multi-sig. And also that we have tally as well, where we could initiate proposals where governance or decision making is through the community. So these are all confirmations that we are looking at a fully decentralized project. Again, it meets all the 3 criterias, and we have EM and RBS to sustain price. So these are the 5 core questions that we need to look at before participating in any DeFi project. So all the contract addresses will be shared in the description below, or you could also check them on our official Telegram group chats. So you could also verify yourself to understand the 5 things that we need to look at before participating in any DeFi project.